Chapter 4 of Grimm's Fairy Tales, Retold in One-Syllable Words. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Katie Rose Martin. Grimm's Fairy Tales, Retold in One-Syllable Words by Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. Chapter 4. Tales about Elves. First tale. A shoemaker, through no fault of his own, once grew so poor that he had only as much stuff left as would make one pair of shoes. He cut out the shoes at night so that he could set to work the next day. But when he got up at dawn and went to work, he found the pair of shoes laid on his bench all made. He did not know what to think. He took the shoes in his hands and looked at them with care, but he could not find one poor stitch. They were as good as could be. A man soon came in who bought them, and thought they were so good a pair that he paid a high price for them. The shoemaker could now buy stuff for 2 pairs of shoes. He cut them out at night to lose no time, but there was no need of this, for when he got up the next day, they were made. Before night he sold these and could then buy stuff for 4 pairs of shoes. At dawn he found them made, and thus it went on, day by day. In this way he did well, and in the end got rich. One night he said to his wife, "How would it do for us to sit up and see who it is that does all this work for us?" His wife thought it would be well, so they set a light to burn, and hid at one end of the room, behind some clothes that hung there. When it was late, 2 small elves came in and went to work. They had no clothes on, though it was the cold part of the year. They did the work up fast, and then went away. The next day the wife said, "Those elves have made us rich, and we ought to make them a gift. I know what we will do. They must be cold without clothes, so I will make shirts, coats, pants, and socks for them, and you shall make each a pair of shoes." The man thought this a good plan, and by night the gifts were all made. They laid them on the bench and then hid to see how the elves would act. At midnight they came in, and when they went to look for the stuff to work with, they found their nice new clothes in its place. They put them on in great glee, and danced and hopped about, and jumped over the bench and the chairs, and sang. At last they danced out of the room, and after that they were seen no more. But all went well with the shoemaker, and he had good luck as long as he lived. Second tale. There was once a poor maid who worked hard and was very neat. The house and the yard were swept with care, and the dirt was put in a heap and carried away. One day she found a note, and as she could not read, she took it to her master. It turned out to be a note from the elves to ask her to come and be a godmother to one of their children. The maid did not at first know what to do, but at length made up her mind to go. 3 elves came who took her to a hollow mountain where they lived. All the things in their home were small, but rich and fine. The maid stood godmother to the child, and then she wished to go home, but the elves begged her to stay with them 3 days. So she stayed, and the days went by joyfully with her. When the time came for her to go, the elves gave her a lot of gold, and led her out of the mountain. When she got back to the house, she took her broom and set to work. But strange people came to her and asked who she was and what she did there. Then she found out that she had been in the home of the elves 7 years in place of 3 days, and that while she was gone, her old master had died. Third tale. There was once a mother who had the dearest little babe in the world, but one day the elves came and ran off with it, and in its place left a changeling with a great big head and staring eyes, who did nothing but eat and drink all the day long. The mother was full of grief, and told her neighbors of her sad piece of luck, and asked if they could tell her what she ought to do. One of them told her to set the strange child in front of the hearth, build a fire, and boil some milk in 2 eggshells. "This will make the child laugh," said the neighbor, "and if he once laughs, it will be all over with him." The woman did as she was told. As soon as she put the eggshells in place, the strange child sang out, "Old am I as the oldest tree, but to cook in eggshells is new to me." Then he began to laugh, and as he laughed there came in a whole crowd of elves. To the great joy of the mother, they brought back her own child and placed it on the hearth, and took the strange one off with them. End of chapter 4. Tales about Elves.